Oh, hey YouTube, what's really good? My name's In Vivid Color, coach of the South Texas Sableyes, and this video is going to just be me recapping my entire season of the WBE. It's going to be entirely unscripted and completely off the top of my head, which everything I do is, which is why everything ends up being so rambly. But yeah, you know, spoiler alerts, if you haven't watched my entire season, I guess more specifically the last battle, there's a playlist that will be the top link in the description down below that will take you to my WBE Season 3 playlist. You know, it's really just all my battles. I think I did like 1 or 2 team builders, and then most of them ended up being, if I did them, at the beginning of a battle. But yeah, so anyway, this video is just going to be me going over my season. It probably will be rambly. It probably won't have any form of structure whatsoever, but let's get right into it. So first thing I kind of want to go over is just how my team ended up at the end, and I guess me analyzing what I could have done better. So here we are. We have the stats pulled up, and if I need to scroll down for y'all to see anything specific, we'll get to that. But yeah, so our overall record ended up being 9-6. In the regular season, I think we went 7. Okay, so I guess our overall record is 9-7. Because our record during the regular season, if I could speak properly, was 7-6, which was just enough to sort of like eke out the last playoff slot. I think I ended up in the last playoff slot. It was either me or Nexus. If we can I go down here? No. Anyways, so, you know, not the best record in the regular season. I am really proud of my playoff run, but my regular season run needed some work, and we'll talk about that. It just, you know, my reflections, things I probably could have done better, things I probably did good at. I'll compliment myself a little bit here and there. But yeah, so our team at the end of the league was Mew, Tapu Bulu, Hawlucha, Nidoking, Galvantula, Noivern, Sneasel, Poliwrath, Rapidash, and Mega Aggron. So this is different from what our team was at the beginning of the season, and we'll kind of cover that. All right, so this is going to be a really awkwardly cut in interjection, sort of going over what my team was before I picked up some of my free agents, because my team didn't start off the same way it ended, and I mentioned that, but then I never talked about what my team started off as. So my original team was Mew, Hawlucha, Bulu, Nidoking, Galvantula. I'm just scrubbing through reading this, which is why, you know, I'm not pausing so that we can like look at the pretty pictures. We're scrubbing through Moltres, Noivern, Alolan Sandslash, and Barbacle. That's it, right? Oh, and Mega Sharpedo. So this is my original team. It wasn't really my playstyle at all. I did find a little bit of a respect for Mega Sharpedo. I was kind of sad to let it go because I really enjoyed using it. But a few things, the things that changed are Moltres, Alolan Sandslash, Mega Sharpedo initially became Mega Aggron because under the radar, Kelly, he dropped Mega Aggron because he needed a way to prevent hazards from going up. So he picked up Mega Sableye. It was just like an even swap. So I dropped Mega Sharpedo, which was sad because I liked it a lot. And then I had to downgrade Moltres, I had to downgrade Moltres, move Noivern up to my tier 4 slot, and pick up Sneasel and what was the other thing? Rapidash. That was it. So maybe I didn't downgrade Moltres because I think Sneasel was also a tier 4. No, I had to. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Maybe this is all wrong. I don't know. I dropped Sandslash, which was an awful steel type to get because Mega Aggron just gave me a really reliable bit of bulk that I could switch into. And then throughout the season, I've learned that I love it. It's something I've never drafted before, and I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed Mega Sharpedo, but I legitimately don't think I would have done as well without switching my team up. I think this team, like the offensive presence it has is really good, but it has nothing that just functions as a default pivot. So, and then I ended up switching Barbacle for Poliwrath the last week you can make trades, which I was really happy with because I never once brought Barbacle, and maybe it would have been good some weeks, like versus Dan. I think it would have been really good, especially just if I could get it in and Shell Smash, but just it wasn't for me. And Polyrath turned out to be like a really key piece in certain weeks. So there you go. This was just an awkward interjection for me showing you what my team was before the end of the season. Because I think I made the Mega Sharpedo Moltres Sandslash switch week 3 or 4, something like that. And then this one I think I made week 6 or 7, something like that. So there you go. That's that. This was what my team was before. I'm really happy with how my team ended up. Some things I did learn the few weeks I got to use these mons though. Moltres is great. I don't think it should be underrated. It's really strong, has a good speed tier at 90. You just have to keep rocks off the field. Alolan Sandslash sucks unless you have ice. It does. Barbacle is hard to set up. Shell Smash, because it's really slow. I never brought it. I didn't learn anything with it. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool mon. I never brought it. Mega Sharpedo is great. It's much better if you can stay in with Sharpedo for a turn, click protect, and get that speed boost. Okay, that's it. Now go watch the rest of me talking. Thanks. But just looking at the spread, one thing that I am really proud of, one thing I think I did pretty well, at least in the games I won this season, was I played to different win cons. I tried really, really hard not to rely on one Pokemon to win most of my games, most of my matches. Most of my games, that means the same thing. I tried not to use one specific Pokemon as a win con from week to week, like each week, because I think that becomes really obvious. If you have one Pokemon that you're relying on to win you most of your games, I think you get a little easy to predict and a little bit, I guess, more counter-teamable. I know that's not like the proper way to phrase this, but so for instance, if we look at Mew had 16 kills, 9 deaths. Bulu had 14 kills, 7 deaths. Hawlucha had 0 kills, 4 deaths. This is probably my biggest flaw. I didn't use Hawlucha well this season. It would have been better had I not drafted it, honestly. At least I think my season would have been better had I not drafted it. Like, I don't know what was open in the tier 2 slot, but I probably just could have let Hawlucha go. Nidoking ended up with 14 kills, 8 deaths. Galvantula 1 and 4. I used it more of a support Pokemon and to kind of like offer fast electric pressure here and there. Noivern 12 kills, 4 deaths. Sneasel 2 kills, 3 deaths. Polyrath 4 kills, 1 death. Had a really amazing game and then really just played like a defensive support every other game. Rapidash 0 kills, 1 death. I could have used this thing much better, 100%. And then last but not least, Mega Aggron had 9 kills, 6 deaths. So I do think I did really well in diversifying my threats from week to week. And then when my main win con, the win con, I went into the battle thinking like, this is how I'm going to win the game. When that died, I think some weeks I did a really good job of sort of reassessing the situation and being like, it's okay, I can still win with X, which I'm proud of because I haven't historically been good at that. I haven't historically been good at sort of diversifying win cons in the past. I'll typically have one Pokemon that is sort of like the go-to for my team, and for some teams that's fine. Like for instance, if you look at, I think Dan's team is a good one, or like Leo's team. Their kill leaders are it's pretty prominent. Like I think Leo's kill leader is Mega Lopunny, and it's like by a landslide. Or Dan's team, and I mean I could go check these things. This isn't really about them, but we'll check it. So Dan's team, let's see. Yeah. So his Kyurem Black had 20 kills. And then if we go to Leo's team, I'm just like listing team. I'm thinking of like which teams I know had like really, really specific high kill leaders. If I go to ranking, does that get me there? Yeah. So if I go to Leo's team, I think his Mega Lopunny has like 20-something kills, and then everything else is, yeah. His Mega Lopunny had 29 kills. Well, I guess his Reuniclus also had a decent chunk of kills, but still. The moral of the story is, the moral of everything I'm trying to say is that some coaches, they sort of, you know, and some teams are built that way, and I think that's fine. If your team is really hard to counter in that sense, like Mega Lopunny, it just doesn't have switch ends, right? So it makes sense it has such a high kill count. I didn't really have anything besides, like, I guess you could say Bulu, and I guess Nidoking is really limited on switch ends. But Bulu I ended up using more defensively most of the season, which we'll also talk about. And then the Nidoking, I have a decent kill count on it. Anyways, the moral of the story is, first thing I want to compliment myself on is, also, how many times have I said moral of the story? Let's try to wean off of that for a minute. The first thing I want to compliment myself on is I think I did a really good job of diversifying win cons and then also reassessing mid-match. Obviously not great because my regular season was 7-6. but well enough. So we have our. Do I have? If I go to my thing here, I think we can look at like the list of matches I played. Yeah, so week 1, it's all over here. So this is the website from our end. I don't think there's any like hidden information that Otto wouldn't want people to see, but if there is, I guess he'll tell me and I'll pull the video down. Let's hope not. So our sort of like this is our breakdown of how all of our matches went. So week 1 versus Nexus, we got a 5-0. Week 2 versus Joey, we lost 0-3. And this week was, I think, the first week where I really acknowledged, like, I can't play Bulu like an idiot. Like, in this week, and I have my playlist pulled up here, with sort of, like, each game over here on the side that we can scrub through if we want to. But this week was the first week where I really learned that I can't just play Bulu like an idiot, because any random poison coverage that could be on a Mon that could spare a coverage slot probably was going to have poison coverage. Bulu is pretty bulky, but a strong poison type hit from the physical spectrum is almost always going to get it. The special spectrum, not always, because one, most weeks I was running it specially defensive, or at least like most weeks I was running it defensively. It was like specially defensive, and 2, you can always AV it, so you'll live the random hidden power poison if it's not off like a monstrous special attack stat. But yeah, I just lost Bulu turn 1 thinking that I would be able to chunk the Mega Gallade. I was just thinking in standard like Sword Stance Mega Gallade, and I was thinking, okay, if he clicks SD turn 1, you know, at least I'm pretty sure this is my mindset. Like, what's the worst that happens? I thought I was just going to like eat a Psychic type attack or an Ice Punch, which I would have eaten either of those, and then crack back with like, I think it was Horn Leech is what I went for, maybe, or maybe I clicked Woodhammer. Either way, I was just trying to do a lot of damage on turn 1 and like come out on top. Didn't work. Week 3 versus Patters. I do not remember this game for the life of me. It was I know Patters prep was really good. I kind of want to like go through it and scrub through it. This is it. So, let's mute. All right, so we brought Hawlucha, Nidoking, Bulu, Moltres, Galvantula, and Mew. And Patters brought Tapu Koko, the Woobat or Swoobat. I remember this a little bit more now. Terrakion was killer against us, I'm pretty sure. Terrakion, Snorlax, Escavalier, and Mega Gyarados. And I think what ended up happening was I think we got really lucky and we crit the Snorlax at some point with Bulu, which meant I think essentially it meant that basically because the Snorlax was about to bot Bulu with like a poison jab, not a poison jab, gunk shot. Like Snorlax couldn't bot Bulu, but we got a lucky crit. But I think where I went wrong in this match was I had Mew in on Gyarados, and then I didn't click Taunt. Like I think I clicked Stealth Rocks maybe, and he Dragon Danced. I don't remember. It was really bad. It was a really bad sort of whatever happened. Let's like make this full screen real quick. Yeah, so he used Crunch, and I think this was the turn I decided to click Taunt, because I didn't click Taunt the turn before. I think I set up Stealth Rocks. I don't know. The moral of the story is I didn't think about like how not to lose the game. I was just playing kind of like in the moment thinking like I can lose Mew here, and I think I thought he wasn't Dragon Dance. It was just like a poor line of play. And real quick, I want to go back to the Joey battle. And just go to turn 1, because I think it's pretty funny.
Oh, please don't be poison jab. Dang, come on. Okay. Alright,
There's something really funny about going back and watching yourself get salty. So, those were my first 3 weeks. My 4th week versus Duncan, I don't remember specifically why, but I definitely couldn't live comm that week. I don't remember why. I just couldn't. But it was a really good week because one, I had to play around a lot to sort of get in this week. He ended up bringing Trick Room, so I had to play around Trick Room, and I had to burn Trick Room turns. And I remember playing sort of my Noivern and my Moltres, using them as like these defensive pivots, which is something they really weren't. And I kept having to pivot around this stupid Vikavolt because it was going to decimate my life. So I brought this bulky Bulu. This was like the first week where I brought like specifically bulky Bulu. I think it was like sub taunt, which was a root special. He gave me crap all season for not, I guess, saying it out loud, but it was a root 8100. He's really good at Draft League. If you don't know him, go check him out. And then Randy HLD, HLD gamer, Hippo Hawk, another draft player, also recently won the GBA. So really good. Those two guys, big shout outs to them. They helped me with this week specifically, I know. And, I just remember playing like really tight. It ended up being a 5-0, which was kind of unprecedented at that point because Duncan had been playing his mind out, and I thought I was going to lose. And then this Mega Sharpedo ended up cleaning up the entire battle. Like, we brought Aquajet as tech. It was something that me and Randy and Root, but also sort of the guys that helped me in my front office. Aquajet seemed really good because otherwise what is this stupid Pokemon? This thing. This little clown thing. Where is it at? It's around here somewhere. He brought it in at some point. This stupid clown, Blacephalon. We needed something for Blacephalon because it was very, very threatening to my team. If you just look at the comp. Then we played Mr. Talent. We copped an 0-1 loss. And something that people had commented on sort of over time was a lot of my wins were sort of really landslidey in that they were like 3-0 and above. And a lot of my losses... Oh, my phone just dinged. I'm not a professional. I guess I could put it on mute. A lot of my wins were really landsliding and a lot of my losses were pretty tight. There's another thing I felt good about this league. Like, even though I didn't have the best record, I had a really solid differential at the end of the season, which felt really good. Like, I think going into like it was one of the weeks going into week 9 or 10 or maybe 8. It was something like that, like kind of like mid towards the end. I was tied for the best differential in the league, so I felt cool about that. Mr. Talent, I don't remember how that game went, but I'm pretty sure he had something Choice Scarf that just kind of like got me at the end of it. Also, I gotta mute these. That was sort of like the week where like I think I finally brought the Unburden Hawlucha. Oh, it was this thing. This thing decimated me. This stupid Houndoom. I think it was like Choice Specs. It was Choice Specs and it ended up being a problem. That, and then also, what ended the game? The Houndoom, right? Yeah, the Houndoom and then the Gyarados? I don't remember. The Houndoom was a big problem this week, and it was really telling for me that I had to do something because I was like, after Mr. Talent, I was going against K-Cray. K-Cray had Mega Houndoom, and just in general, her team looked really fantastic against mine. And also, I know Kay, like, she has caught flack in her comments before for like maybe not being the best, but she's really good. Like, she's gotten so much better in the short amount of time she's been playing Draft League mods, because I don't think she's ever really done competitive. And then all of a sudden she was just in the APA, and then she was in this, and she's really good. I mean, really good is, you know, I would say she's really good. I don't know how to justify it or quantify it any other way. Just the amount of improvement we've seen in her since she first started to now, I think is like really good. So there's that. Versus Deathly week 7, we had a really funny match. Okay, so for versus K-Cray, I brought Rock Polish Mega Aggron. I was kind of like really stressed for prepping, which is something that I think these last 3 weeks had been sort of... Well, Duncan I prepped hard for. So Patters, Talents, and K-Cray, I didn't prep for very well. Because the first 2 weeks, I was still either not in school. Or classes hadn't started yet. One of the two. I'm a high school teacher, for those who don't know. Once that hit, I stopped, like, I really stopped paying as much attention to my team prep or to just like practicing in general. And I started like kind of relying on my front office to either build for me or to like talk me through things, which I don't do well with. Historically, you know, I've tried that in the APA last season, and it just, anytime I just got my front office to build for me. And, you know, don't get me wrong, a lot of the sets they suggest are incredible, which, real quick, I should probably just go ahead and shout out my entire front office. I'm just going to pull up Discord because there is a 0% chance that I remember everyone that's in there without just having it open. So the people who help me build on a week-to-week basis are Corey, Dr. Slacking, Rocket Admin, Psy, Shime Time, and Ultra Player. Those people, massive shout outs to them. Dr. Slacking has come through with some really interesting tech before. Corey and Shime Time are kind of like a duo. They work together, and both have given me really good sets. I don't always use the sets they suggest because sometimes it's a little bit out of my range as a player. The things they suggest, like there was a lot of really clutch Rapidash sets that kept getting thrown my way at the end of the season. It was just out of my range. And Ultra Player kept giving me these Fire Mew sets. And then Rocket Admin Psy always like looks at a matchup and says, I think this sounds good. So big shout outs to those guys. Thank you so much for helping me, not just in this past season, but like recently, and just being there to talk to. It's been nice. So that is, so anyways, back to my story. I was just kind of strapped for prep time. So I would say K-Cray, Mr. Talent, and Patters I didn't prep for at all. Duncan, I was coming off of 2 weeks in a row losing, so I really, really, really wanted to win. So I took kind of an aggressive amount of time. I think it was either the day before or the day of that we had planned to play, and really just prepped. And then I didn't start really putting in, I guess, the hours again until I would say probably here versus Boff. Even then, a lot of my prep, and I'll be the first to admit this, a lot of my prep this season has been like kind of sus at best. I just haven't put in the time because I've been stressed and busy, and this isn't like in a video to just make excuses on why I did poor. It's not, because I think a lot of coaches are that way. A lot of coaches that, especially the ones that aren't content creators that have other jobs, like it's hard. It can be very hard. So that small aside, done. Let's move on. So K-Cray, I bought Rock Polish Aggron. So like I said, like I wasn't really prepared. And then at the last minute, I think it was either General Tar Heel or Choice CJ. I'm in sort of this Discord chat with a bunch of dudes from the community. And one of them like looked at the match and said, Rock Polish on Aggron looks sweet. And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't have anything else going. Like I had 6 Mons that were kind of like meh. And I just changed the defensive Aggron for Rock Polish Aggron. And then Aggron cleaned up at the end of the game. I think I had a really fortunate crit at some point to kill a Garchomp with an Ice Punch. 1 second. I had a really fortunate crit. But even without that, I think once I got in and sort of like got Rock Polish up, it was going to put in enough work where I would probably have won the game regardless. It just might have not been the best differential. Versus Deathly, this was my favorite use of Hawlucha the entire season. I brought Hawlucha just to click Rain Dance. Like, we just clicked Rain Dance with Hawlucha, let it die to poison that it got from switching into a poison jab from a Beedrill, and then we went into Poliwrath, and Poliwrath swept. This is like a belly drum Poliwrath with 3 attacks, like double stab plus ice coverage. And the whole point, of this was, I don't know, I prepped really last minute, but then I looked at like Poliwrath's offensive coverage, and the water fighting stab hit everything. And with the belly drum up, it O-code everything, I think, except for Coffagrigus. So I had to have Coffagrigus go down, and I think, it ended up dying to Bulu at some point. Like, he could have switched out. I had a really Spadeffy Bulu, and then this Bulu was like sub, seed, protect, maybe, like, and then we eventually just got rid of the Bulu, or the Coffagrigus, and it was great. It was fantastic. I remember thinking, like, when this Coffagrigus, hold on, let's listen to this.
This feels like a dead Coffagrigus. It is. All right, very cool. Very cool.
Because in my head, at this point, I knew that the Poliwrath could come in and potentially, like, clean up the game. This is a fun match. Deathly told me before the match even started, he was like, don't bring interesting sets or something. I think he'd went on like a tear of maybe playing like Subtoxic, which there's been a lot of controversy about Subtoxic throughout the WBE season. I think it's a completely legitimate strategy, and sometimes you need to bring Subtoxic Mons to break down things that you can't normally break down. If you're gonna bring Subtoxic to leagues, just know that people will tell you you're awful, but you're not. There'd been a lot of controversy about it, I think, because I mean, I guess it is kind of inherently unfun to play against, especially if something outspeeds your entire team and it gets in at a good point, and you just can toxic and substitute and protect down something that would normally check it, right? It can feel a little disheartening, but it's a completely legitimate strategy, and I think it also takes a lot of intelligence in team building to identify, because a lot of the times you'll see the really great subtoxic mons from week to week are things that you wouldn't normally think about running that set. You wouldn't normally think like, oh, I think Patters had one and it was like subtoxic Delphox. Like, you wouldn't normally think about subtoxic Delphox. It just had a good speed stat and a good speed matchup for, I think it was versus A-Drive. It was good. So anyways, that's my little rant on subtoxic aside. Definitely said bring interesting sets, and then I was like, yeah, Rain Dance Hawlucha into Belly Drum Poliwrath. I didn't even end up belly drumming, but it was a good one. Boff's team was really good. I remember being kind of terrified, but we ended up getting a 6-0, and excuse me. I really think that was due to, I had a lot of switching. Like, I had Roar on Mega Aggron, and I had Roar on Mega Aggron, and I had Circle Throw. Oh, God, that's so obnoxious. I had Circle Throw on my Poliwrath because Boff just didn't have the best removal. Yeah, so he had this, what is this thing, Staraptor, and he had Mega Altaria and Blaziken. I think that was the extent of his removal. So knowing that, I knew that just like stacking rocks, like getting webs up, things like that would be really, really good versus him. And I want to say that the hero of this week was an expert. Yeah, it was Expert Belt Mew with like Ice Beam. I wish I had the set on me right now. It was like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Earth Power, or something like that. Like, it was a really sick Ultra Player special. Which again, Ultra Player, I think his, in my mind this past season, his real niche in my team building has been giving me good Mew sets, because when you give me a Pokemon that has an infinite possibilities, like an infinite amount of sets, I get really tunnel vision on like one or two that I think are really good. And he's been really good at helping me, I guess, break out of that. Week 9 was super unfortunate. It was versus Steve, the inventor of Draft League. And I think I even said at some point during this match, like, I took a quick aside right here. Whoever ended up giving him his sets gave him a Politoed without Drizzle, and then they also gave him a Quillfish with Intimidate, or something like that. He didn't have the right sets, and he was also in a place where he couldn't replay. Like, I think he was staying at a hotel at the time. Like, he had some personal issues. I don't know the full extent of it. I just remember it was really awful, and I offered a couple times to replay because I felt atrocious that we won a game that essentially we would have lost because his Mega Swampert, without a doubt, 6-0'd our team. His Mega Swampert, without a doubt, 6-0'd our team in Rain, and he couldn't get Rain up. Just couldn't. And I feel really bad about it. I felt really, really bad about it. So this week, it was a mishap. It was very unfortunate. We couldn't replay. And, I would just hope that in the future, the next time I play Steve, it is a good match. Because I think the first time we played was for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And I think it was sort of like a similar situation where, he loves playing Pokemon. He's really good at the game. He was kind of strapped for time during that season. And I don't think he had, like, bottle-capped Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So it was, kind of tough. Week to week, I don't think he had, best IVs. Is it IVs? Yeah, best IVs or natures. So his movesets were fine, but the IVs and natures still mattered. So next time we play, I hope it's just a clean game because dude's really good. And I don't know, I think he's caught like a reasonable amount of like nonsense comments saying like, why aren't you trying or something like that? And people just don't get it. You gotta give people, I don't know, the benefit of the doubt. Like, stuff happens. Versus Dan, man, it was such a good game. I remember it being really good. I played the whole match trying to keep sticky webs up, and then in the end, it came down to this turn right here. I played the entire game trying to keep sticky webs up. In the end, it came down to this turn right here, because my Nidoking would have outsped everything under webs, and it cleaned up the rest of his team. And then, just has this been like going through my speakers whenever? Yeah, it probably has. Well, this video's a mess. At the very end, he switches into his Mega Kyurem. His Mega Kyurem is Kyurem Black, and I have webs up, and I'm like, okay, we're about to go in. This thing is in range of Focus Blast because I brought Focus Blast on the Nidoking. We were in range. It was gonna be good. We clicked it. And then he had the what berry is this? The Chople berry. I grabbed my chair because I knew at that point that I'd lost. I knew at that point that I'd lost. It clearly would have killed without the berry. Real unfortunate. This was a good game though. Even after that, I think there was still some semblance of hope, maybe, or maybe not. I think that the combination of his Talonflame and Skarmory, is that what he had left? I think it always could beat us because my Mega Aggron had no health. I don't remember. It was a really good game, and I liked it a lot. Versus Wolf. This was, I think, one of the bigger upsets of the season. The end game of this was actually awful. Like, the end game was actually atrocious. We had gotten to a point where it was just his Mandibuzz and what was it? Assault Vest Excadrill in the back versus my Noivern at close to no health, but facing down a burnt Mandibuzz that only had Foul Play as an attacking option. And my Galvantula, which was Choice Scarfed. So I couldn't just switch in Galvantula to this Mandibuzz and click Thunder, or, I couldn't do that, because if you switch out into the Excadrill, I lost. Thunder, when this thing was close to full health, I don't even think was like a lock to kill. So it was just a really awkward situation where basically I had to land 2 Air Slashes in a row that flinched the Mandibuzz. I had to land 2 Air Slashes that flinched to get him in range of the 3rd Air Slash, maybe having a roll high enough to kill, and then being able to kill the Excadrill from there. And we ended up getting it. It was a very, very close, I think it was a 2-0. Yeah, it was a 2-0. Was it a 2 or was it a 1-0? Yeah, it was a 2-0. It was a really close game, and the end game was absolutely awful. Like, he couldn't switch out of his Mandibuzz into his Excadrill on my Noivern, because if it took the Air Slash damage, then it was just gonna die to, I think it was dead to like 2 or 3 Air Slashes. I couldn't switch into Galvantula and click Thunder reasonably because, 1, if you switched to Excadrill, I lost, and 2, if I flipped a coin and clicked Energy Ball instead of Thunder and he stayed in and didn't switch out, we also lost. So, I don't know. It was a fun game. The end game was atrocious. I caught a lot of hate for this one. The next 2 weeks, sort of the last 2 weeks of the regular season, I was super busy in school. Super busy. We had grades were due. I was doing video projects for school. It was the first week we were doing announcements. I think one of these weeks, I don't remember which one. One of them I had a meeting every day after school, and then I also had 2 doctor's appointments during the week. So I had 5 meetings a week, 2 doctor's appointments. I'm pretty sure it was this one. I threw the team together for week 12. I think 30 minutes before we played. Maybe not. I was probably a little late to playing the game. It was bad. And then versus John, at this point, based on standings, I knew I was locked anyway. So I was 7-5 going into the last week. I knew that even if we lost, we would still be locked for playoffs. So we both just kind of memed. I just tried to speed pass to Bulu, which was aggressive, I guess. I don't know. People were telling me, people were like, why'd you reveal that? That could have been a good strat to go into playoffs. I was like, I don't know, because the only thing I had that baton pass speed were Hawlucha and Mew. And I hate Hawlucha, which I don't really. I love it as a Pokemon. I hate it in Draft League now, because I think everybody goes into their weeks acknowledging that you could bring Hawlucha. So when you do finally bring it, they have a check for it, and every team that is at least reasonable has something that checks Hawlucha. So, whatever. Maybe it's really good. It is really good. I've seen it do incredible work. I'm probably not the best at using it. And then we started playoffs, and this was our playoffs run. We played John, then Wolfie. No, John, then Joey, then Wolfie. So versus John. I think this was my favorite game I'd ever played. If we go here, this is it, right? Yeah. Also, week 13, the last week of the WBE never even got uploaded. Maybe I can I don't know. I just never uploaded it. That's how busy I was. So those last 2 weeks with Otto and John, I just never uploaded those weeks. And I feel really bad that I didn't upload it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think I used any of the sets, but in his battle, John mentioned something about I had information on what he brought, but he didn't have information on what I'd brought because he couldn't see and he couldn't hear me talking about the battle. So I do feel bad about that, but I was also really proud of this game because there was a point in the game here where I think it's right here where I pulled a ton of switches. I think I ended up pulling a triple switch. I think I switched out the turn before this to get into Bulu, right? Or maybe I U-turned. Let's see. Let's just watch. Let's watch with sound off because I had my speakers on this whole time. But it'd be so much funner with sound. Let me plug in headphones real quick and then we'll watch together. I was just really proud of this sequence and I think I'm even talking about it in the battles, which is why I want to hear it. But I just remember a lot of people were that was a really, that was really bold. You did really good there. Let's see. Okay, so yeah. So I'm pretty sure we go for U-turn here. Yeah. So we go for U-turn. We go out into Bulu on this turn. I'm just going to skip around. So we go out into Bulu. Right? All right, let's get to the Bulu. The grassy terrain went down, but I think he always had to save this thing because it had a great speed tier and it would still die to Woodhammer. He had a Decidui. Here we go. I don't know how this is going to come across in post, by the way. Me trying to commentate over listening to this battle, I have zero clues how this is going to go. So we predict him to go out into his Decidui. We go out into Mega Aggron. And then based on what had happened earlier in the game, we predict him to go from his Decidui, which was really good in this matchup. He kind of had to have it to go out into his Vaporeon. And then on this, we hard switched into Galvantula. And this was sort of the play. Don't get me wrong, I think I was winning slow exchanges of sort of forcing switches, but this triple switch here, U-turn into hard switch, really put me in a very good position. Because then in front of this thing, he either had to let it potentially die to a Thunder, get hecka chunked, or let me get webs up. Because he also just couldn't risk switching his Mega Deontay into the Galvantula, because if I just click Thunder and it gets paralyzed, it's super dead either way. So we end up going for Thunder. He switches into this thing, and then we get webs up on it, and we just go from there. There was a turn right here, I think, where we had webs up, and we'd also gotten a para on the first Thunder. And if he got paralyzed during his defog, we won the game. Because we just went out into Nidoking and I think set up a substitute. And there was just nothing that could have come in and outsped and got through Nidoking's sub and then Nidoking without getting two-shot. So I was really proud of that game. And then came the sort of the infamous game versus Joey, which was I think my game versus Wolf in week 11 was I think at the time the biggest upset of the season. And then my game versus Joey in playoffs round 2 was actually the biggest upset of the season. Just actually. And also, I'm so upset because I didn't get a live comment because I forgot to click record. And I didn't realize it until after the battle. Joey asked me if I wanted to do the interview, and I went to go click stop recording after I did my outro, and it just said start recording. And I was so upset. There was a lot of sort of technical issues that went into that. I don't really fully remember. There was a lot of technical issues, so I didn't click it. And what was it? I couldn't get my internet to work. That was it. Because I used my computer as a hotspot, so I just never got to start the battle. Or I know we tried to start the battle. I couldn't get connected. I had like started recording, I stopped recording because I couldn't get connected to the internet. Like I think that even in the intro, I like this right here, this team builder, I start saying like towards the end here, or maybe not. I think I'm saying like, I don't know why I can't get connected. I'll just like cut to when I am. But yeah, it was a really, I don't know. This battle was, I think one of the first times I brought Noivern with Frisk. Or maybe I'd started bringing it a week or two before, which is a busted ability. It's really busted. I'm kind of upset I didn't use it more this season. Just giving you information on things like this turn 1, knowing that his Volcarona was not a Koba Berry like it was the first time we played, and that it couldn't take a Hurricane. That's so valuable. That lets me change the entire way I play the game. Whereas if I just had Infiltrate, I'd probably just have to click Hurricane on turn 1. And then I think we got 2 really unfortunate crits on this thing with air slashes or hurricanes. I think it was hurricanes. Like we were landing hurricanes and we got 2 crits on this thing, which kept putting it in ranges where he basically like had to switch out. Like, don't get me wrong. I think I played well and I think I capitalized on my moments well, but there was sort of like an unfortunate series of crits that made the game a landslide. Like it made it to where I was winning 5-0 as opposed to if I didn't get those crits, the game plays out differently and I might not even win, but if I do win, it's almost certainly by less of a differential, like maybe like a 2-0 or a 3-0, maybe even a 1-0. But yeah, we got some really fortunate crits and it made him make just unfortunate sacks. And then my last my last game of the season, my semifinals match versus Wolfie. It was, let's mute before we click to this one. It was like a mess of crits, like, or just like not crits, but just hacks. Like, I think I ended up getting 2 crits, 2 flinches, and 2 secondary effects. Someone tallied it up in either my comment section or Wolf's. Like, don't get me wrong. I think I played well. I think I made some really impulse decisions towards the end of the game. There was a turn where I just let Mega Aggron die, and I didn't have to do that. And then there was a turn where I just let Nidoking die, and I didn't have to do that. Like, had I not done those things, I think maybe the entire way the game played out would have been different. I would have had Mega Aggron to sack off differently, or maybe even to come in and take a hit and then crack back. I think letting the Nidoking go was also not great. And then just still having the Noivern on my team, I think was pretty gross, because Noivern kind of went unimpeded versus Wolf our first week. So I should have known that he would have something that could just counter it going in. And I knew he was going to bring Gigalith. Like, I knew in my heart he was going to bring it because it made so much sense. And I just like brought this Noivern would have been better as anything else. Probably would have been better as Hawlucha. But yeah, so made a misstep in prep, and then there was a turn right here where I can't even say I made a misstep. Like, this was just God prep by Wolf. He brought Z Throat Chop, and it really, like, it took my Mew out early game, and once Mew was gone, I just never had a good answer to this thing, Tornadus T. I just never had a good answer to it. So we lost this game. And, you know, that was my season. I do, if we can just, like, I guess kind of wrap up here. Let me go back to my page. I guess just, like, wrap up my season. I would say, 1, I'm going to take these out. I think I did really good, especially on the weeks when I tried. And I think you can see a pretty big difference. And again, this isn't to make Johns or to make excuses. Like, there were just legitimately weeks where I couldn't prep. And it's not that I couldn't make time for it. Like, I really could if I wanted to, but I would just, like, come home and I would be like, I'm so beat. I dealt with, like, some health issues in the middle of the season, like from a weird heart episode to, like, the onset of, like, these anxiety attacks at the age of 29. Never been an anxious person, never had anxiety attacks, and then all of a sudden I was having them nightly, which was linked to my heart. But yeah, there were just weeks where, like, I just couldn't do it. It's not that I couldn't, it's just that I didn't, because I felt like I couldn't. And I think you can really tell the difference in those weeks. Again, not trying to say, like, I'm really great. I only did bad on the weeks I didn't prep. I mean, I make piss poor decisions all the time playing this game. But I do think I did good this season, and I'm proud of myself. We made it to the top 4 of a stacked 28. I was gonna say man, but K-Craze here. A stacked 28 team field, and I don't know. I'm really happy with the results, and especially some of the games I played. I'm really happy with some of the games I played. I think they're really shining moments for me in game strategy wise here, and I appreciate that in myself. So now I guess the only way to outro would be to talk about what's coming next, and the truth is I don't know. I want to upload some videos in between now and the time Sword and Shield comes out. I'm not gonna touch Draft League until then. Like, there's no way I'm starting up a league when Sword and Shield comes out next month. I won't do it. 0% chance. I will join a league once Sword and Shield is going. Oh, can I pop my shoulder? Cannot. I will join a league once Sword and Shield is going. I'm gonna take about a month and a half break, and I'm gonna focus on work. And when I have spare time, I'm gonna make videos. And I don't know what those videos are gonna be, and I don't know how many of them you're gonna get. But hopefully, it's something you can enjoy. I mean, I've been thinking about doing I'm not interested in doing Gen 7 battles. I'm really not. I don't want to play VGC. I don't want to play different formats. I don't want to do like Showdown Lives or anything. Like, I'm just not into it. I think that it's a little tired. I mean, there are people out there doing this daily, like Pokegame and MB, and those people that post Wi-Fi battles daily, and they're killing it. They're doing great. Really good at the game, and people like to watch it. I'm tired. I'm tired of Gen 7, so I'm gonna take a breather. I might upload some like opinion pieces or different content, maybe even stuff that's not Pokemon related. We'll figure it out. I might not upload anything, but I'm gonna try to, because I don't just want to not, if that makes sense. So yeah. That's my season in a nutshell. I don't know what's coming next. I will join leagues. There are, I think, 2 leagues right now that are in talks. As soon as Sword and Shield comes out, I don't know which one's gonna pop off first. I don't know if I'm joining both. I know I'm joining one of them for sure. I'm pretty sure I'm joining both, but I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, until then, I've got some ideas for some just like fun one-off videos. And we'll see if it goes anywhere. And if it does, maybe people watch things that aren't battles on my channel. Other than that, I'm getting married next week. A week from today, actually, I'm getting married. So that's going to be hecka fun. If you made it to the end of this video, I've been rambling for about an hour now. Not an hour, but like 45 minutes. So if you made it to the end of this video to hear me ramble about how I'm not doing drafts and how I'm getting married in a week, thank you for watching. That means a lot to me. But yeah, just one more time, I want to thank everyone in my front office, Root and Randy, and then there was this like other list of dudes that helped out. So like Kelly, I know under the radar, helped me out for a battle. Leo had helped from time to time. General Tar Heel, Choice CJ, those people had given me suggestions. So really just big shout outs to everyone that helped me this season. One, thank you so much for all the support. Obviously, this is a big project, like being a part of the WBE. It was a big deal for me. I remember the first time watching the live draft of the WBE, I was like so enamored with it. I just wanted to be a part of it because, I was doing draft leagues, but really just like smaller ones. I think the first one that I got invited to that was bigger than that was like the APA. So, smaller, and then gradually kind of climbing up this chain. And then all of a sudden, the second season of the WBE rolls around, and I'm like, I know I'm not getting an invite, but maybe I can help out. So I like offered to do some graphic work for Dan. I do some thumbnails and some other stuff. And then, then I'm just in the WBE Discord server. And then he does this baby tag lock thing, which was also my idea. I think I remember DMing him that, like saying like, it would be cool if he did this. So I get a slot in that, and that was really cool. And then after that, we do, what do we do? We go to the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and then I get invited to that season, or not necessarily invited, but I'm just in the Discord server, and he's like, hey, who wants to do this? And I say yes, and he lets me in. And then we're in season 3, and it's really cool, and we make a really deep run. And I don't know, it's just really fun. It's been a lot of fun. I love the support. This community is great. Thanks for everything. I feel like I'm being maybe a little too mushy or sentimental, but legitimately thanks for everything. The season's been really cool. Even if you're one of the people leaving a comment in my comment section that says, you should have lost to Joey, you suck. I still love you. And, thanks for the view. Okay, I think I'm done rambling now. So what to expect from me? Don't know. We'll figure it out. What's next? Don't know. We'll figure it out. Sword and Shield come out, and I'm sure I'll be doing stuff then. I want to stream games once in a while. I'm not going to make a schedule because I just can't stick to it right now. I'm real busy. But yeah, life's fun. Getting married. Super excited about that. I don't know. Like, I love Emily so much, and I'm just excited. If you are, sort of like an old viewer of mine from the channel, you know who she is. She's been on streams, or like I tweet at her a lot, or she's in my Instagram. I mean, not many people from here follow me on Instagram, but you could, and then you would know who Emily is. I don't know, whatever. All right, thank you so much for everything. It means the absolute most. Yeah, thanks for listening to my mini update at the end. Like, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube things that I don't know if it annoys people that we ask you to do it or not, but it's like the suggested thing to do. But yeah, I'm kind of done here, and I have to leave. And thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your support this season, and it means the absolute most. Okay, love you. Bye.